So Mukul, फाइनली वो दिन आ गया कि हम लोग सेकंड पार्ट शूट कर रहे हैं.
वेलकम बैक फ्रॉम आउटडोर टू इंडोर.
या आउटडोर टू इंडोर, बट आई मस्ट से कि ये काफी अच्छा बैकड्रॉप है. एंड for those who don't know, this is the place where Mukul usually sits. So this is his den, and
yeah, this is where I spend most of my time. Yeah,
and he tells me so many things about how this place should be in future and all that.
Let's not get into that, but yeah.
Okay, so Mukul, last time हमने बात की थी, so we discussed about your journey, how you got into design, how was your experience with DC. Now this episode, let's try and delve a little bit more into the customization business itself. Customization की जब भी बात होती है तो बहुत सारे accessories वो सब चीज़ें आ जाती है, but Autologue focuses majorly on the aesthetic part of it, right? तो वहाँ पे आई एम प्रीटी श्योर कि डिज़ाइन बहुत एक क्रूशल स्ट्रॉन्ग एलिमेंट होगा आपके डिज़ाइन डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस का. सो लेट्स टॉक मोर अबाउट दैट कि हाउ इज़ योर डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस ओवरऑल and how design plays that important crucial role in the entire development process.
Sure. So obviously with the accessories, the first thing is design, because desirability comes from there. Because an accessory is usually not a need as such. You have to develop that want for it because you believe that it will make you feel more satisfied or make your motorcycle look better or whatever your reason is. So design, I think, is super important, and that's the first most important thing with accessories and the stuff that I do, customization in general. So we have tried that Autologue Design का differentiator main वही है, the fact that we have designers who are working on it. That's different from a custom builder. I am neither a designer like we discussed last time, and neither do I do a lot of stuff with my hand on the bikes, but I have a fair understanding of both. So I've been able to create teams of each, people who are actually doing it and people who are designing it. So design is a very scientific-ish thing. You know that. So there are some things which are just base-wise good or bad. So there are things that me and my team understand about design. So I think that we are able to utilize that to make more desirable products. Where, a lot of custom bikes, I'm not talking about anything in particular. I'm just generally saying that custom bikes are very specific. So the guy who's building it had a vision and उसने उस type का बनाया, so it might not appeal to everybody. But with us, we are trying to make stuff which appeals to masses. We're not trying to do one-offs. So you're kind of following some sort of limitation that an OEM does, where they're trying to make a product for so many people. We might not be targeting the same number of people, but similar. We want most people who have a particular motorcycle to feel like, I like this accessory, it makes my bike look better. So I think design is very important. That's the first thing. And our process, we've tried to keep some manual stuff, which has to be the case in what we do. But we've also tried to do as much as like an OEM follows in terms of process, 3D and scanning and all of that, so that the 19-20 which you would have in manual work is gone. So we're actually giving bolt-on products like we tell our customers. So I think the design part is an important role. That's where your question started. I think I was deviating. But yeah.
No, it's interesting actually, because that's where I was planning to ask you the question कि मतलब डिज़ाइन तो अभी let's talk from the beginning, okay? कि जैसे अभी मान लो कि एक बाइक है, like there are plenty of options available, right? So first of all, tell me कि how do you decide which bike to create that custom kit for? How do you understand that there is demand for this sort of a bike body kit?
So there are multiple factors that could lead Autologue to decide कि इस bike पे करना है. And it's changed over time. When I started out, the KTM was an obvious decision. The reason behind that was it had just launched. It had triggered this enthusiast boom because you were able to get a 40 bhp motorcycle at 2 lakh rupees, which was unheard of at that time. So anyone who was aspiring to have a big bike, the KTM was the logical first step.
Correct.
So the kind of products that we want to make fits that kind of mindset and category. So that's how the KTM happened. And as we've evolved, we've had a more structured way of looking at it. Pehle, like I said, there were multiple things that made a particular model happen. It could be availability. So like, it's not easy for me to get every motorcycle that I want to build. So if someone in my circle had a particular model and I felt like this fits, what Autologue should be doing, then we would force ourselves to come up with accessories for it.
Acha.
Whereas now, 10 years into it, it's easier for us to get access to motorcycles to develop. So it's more about a business decision where you look at the population, you consider the number of people out of that population who would possibly want this product, look at your previous product successes and base it. So that's what it's become more of a business now than it was earlier. So even understanding of what are the things that we should be looking at if you want to project higher numbers or make a product that fits more needs that way.
Okay. So basically, you try to understand the psyche of the customer and that particular, the rider group. कि अगर उसकी psyche ऐसी है कि he wants to express himself through the bike or he wants to, establish his status through the bike or something like that. उस type के customers को you are trying to target with something which they can use, which is very easy to, add on to the existing bike
so
and create that impact.
That's one category.
Okay.
There could be, like for example, a KTM guy. He has seen the Super Duke, right? Like he has a Duke. He's seen the Super Duke. He aspires to have a Super Duke. So we make details which make it look more like the more aspirational version of the same bike that they actually own.
So aspiration is also one of the important things.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that let's say you have decided one bike to target, let's say KTM only. Now let's say you have decided to create a body kit, bolt-on body kit for that bike. So how do you approach it? Like how do you find the exact direction for the design?
Again, I think it's case to case, but for the KTMs, definitely, for example, and let's just continue with the KTM example. So many aspirational higher version motorcycles, right? So you have the 1290 Adventure, so you have the Adventure series. So for us to do the Explorer series, obviously the Adventure series was an inspiration.
Correct.
So if you want your 390 Adventure or your 390 Duke to look more like the Adventure series of the KTM, obviously we didn't want it to look like we had taken the exact Adventure ka design and scaled it down and put it onto a Duke.
Okay.
So we took inspiration from that, took inspiration from other adventure motorcycles.
Understood.
Yeah.
So basically you are trying to provide that added aspirational value to the same product. कि जिससे मतलब उसको लगे कि even though he has this bike, but the way he is expressing his aspiration is pretty much higher. जैसे you said Super Duke. तो अगर KTM 390 में ही उसको Super Duke का essence मिल रहा है.
Even if it's 10% of that essence, 10%. At least you're getting that little bit of extra special feeling. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And इसमें मतलब जब डिजाइन की बात होती है तो दो पार्ट्स आ गए. एक तो बॉडी पार्ट्स हो गए जो मतलब फॉर्म, यू आर एनहांसिंग द फॉर्म, द एग्जिस्टिंग बॉडी पार्ट्स एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट. एंड देन द सेकंड पार्ट इज द डीकैल्स, द ग्राफिक्स ऑफ इट. सो हाउ डू यू बैलेंस दीज टू थिंग्स? लाइक कहाँ पे यू डिसाइड कि प्रोबेबली ग्राफिक्स वुड मेक मोर सेंस इन दिस एरिया, और कहाँ पे यू वुड थिंक कि नहीं यहाँ पे बॉडी पार्ट देना विल बी बेटर? How do you figure out that balance?
So graphics for us has come later into our overall business. My main thing has always been body kits first.
Achha.
So, but then if you have a plain single tone body kit, it's not going to be as impactful. So very logically graphics came in. Apart from being able to do some graphic work ourselves, right from design to manufacturing, we also have associations with a couple of brands who are solely about graphics, because graphics is a very specialized thing, right? The design to even the actual graphic manufacturing. So एक option है कि आप अपने vinyl type, which is basically number plate वाला material cut on a plotter and then use, versus actual livery वाला which race teams and all that use.
बोल्ड ग्राफिक्स जो होते हैं.
Yeah. The material also is very different. ना हम लोग अगर plot करके करेंगे, so it's like regular sticker. Even this is sticker, but it's meant to be on automotive use also, weatherproof, stuff like that. So, case to case, for our kits, we've associated with some brands who, we have fixed pre-designed stuff which come as template things which you can just apply even yourself. Versus, there are some basic ones which come with our kits, even without an extra amount of money. Like, there are different options. We have some which are more expensive and detailed versus basic ones which come with the kit. Because just on its own, it will not make that impact. So we realize that, and we've got levels of graphics. If you're somebody who wants something subtle, then you just have, a couple of lines with Dominar Explorer or Autologue as a brand. Versus somebody who's looking for a custom sort of look, then you have a full graphic option for him, where not only our kit, but even the stock bike gets covered with the graphic.
Yes. Let's talk about this thing which is trending a lot in recent times. So there are like AI tools for everything now.
Yeah.
And I know, being in the industry, there are many companies, and in many ways, everybody is trying to explore these tools. So do you also use them, or are you also trying to explore? And what do you see? Like, what do you see the involvement of AI impacting your entire business?
It's been amazing, man. So like from the beginning matlab ki AI has been happening for really long.
Yeah.
It's become more in the limelight in the last couple of years. But where it's reached and so fast, and what the capabilities are, is really mind-boggling. I don't think I'm anywhere close to being an expert at it, but I've been substantially using it.
Okay.
Right from ChatGPT to Midjourney to a lot of AI-based editing apps for content. Because for my first experience was of it being used actually was ChatGPT, where I just thought, let me try problem solving with it.
Okay.
Let's pick my 10 top current issues. And I asked it, and from the first question, not even one response was baseless or, generic, where it was just general stuff. It was, I think the prompting is a huge part of it, that you need to give it the right inputs for it to give you a logical, proper answer back. But I've been able to solve so many of my problems.
Like, can you give like one of the examples?
So one really amazing example, which otherwise might be logical for someone to just search for this problem ka answer, but maybe we didn't end up doing it the right way. But I did it with ChatGPT. So one issue with fiberglass that we've had in terms of quality is that sometimes, even a year after I've sold the product, if the bike's been standing in the monsoon, in the rain, there is some sort of absorption that happens that causes this bubbling type thing on the surface.
After development, like after
1 year of him having it on the bike.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And normally we give like a year manufacturing support. Like if there's any issue, we replace the product and stuff. So many times this has happened after. But because it's a product issue, obviously we still want to help and fix it. So we got into the detail ki ye kyun ho raha hai. So I asked it, and it gave me the whole scientific explanation that it is a very common problem with fiberglass. That's how it started. This is a very common problem. So ये जो तुम सोच रहे हो कि ये क्यों हो रहा है, उसने मेरे को बहुत obviously state कर दिया 5 causes and 5 ways to make sure it doesn't happen.
Wow. Okay.
And we followed it, and it's at least so far. Abhi monsoon chalu hai. We've been putting out some parts for test, leaving it out in the rain. Haven't had any issues.
Wow.
So I made a collection of 30 such questions, made a report, sent it out to all our people, everyone in the team, telling them this is how I used it and this is how it's helped me. So I want everyone to start using it, because efficiency is like next level.
Crazy.
If I would have taken a week to come up with a report like that, this did it in like 30 minutes. If I had to do the same thing, it would have taken me much longer. And like I said, none of it was baseless. It was all proper answers which made sense. Even marketing wise, coming up with campaign ideas, logos, with mid-journey logos, badges, anything, like all sorts of artwork. In fact, we're working on a series of merchandise which is 95% AI based.
Wow. I was actually gonna ask you about Midjourney.
Yeah.
Like, so you said you talked about ChatGPT, which answers your questions and all. And Midjourney is something which provides you the visual solutions for things.
Correct.
Which usually take, for example, recently I was also exploring Midjourney and Photoshop's generative AI. So let's say putting a bike in a particular scenario used to take at least like 1 day for me to render it properly, adjust the lighting and things like that.
Yes.
And now if I have like one base model and putting it in the right environment, it takes like not more than 2 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude.
And the results are like, and it will provide you multiple options.
Yeah.
So
continue next.
Regenerate.
Yeah.
And then there are many tools also, like Midjourney is there, Viscom. Have you explored Viscom?
So we explored Viscom 2.5-3 years ago when it was very, not, I don't know actually how old it is, but उस time पे अभी के level पे नहीं था.
हाँ.
So we thought कि it's not yet at a point where we can start using it in our
Same
process.
thing happened with me. 6 months back, I used Viscom and I was like, this is nothing more than a gimmick or nothing more than a fancy software which will just do something for you.
But look at what people are doing with it, man. It's insane.
It's insane, man.
For somebody like me, because it's the perfect middle thing for me to explain to design team that this is what I have in my head. It gives me skills which I don't possess.
Correct.
So like if I'm able to just make line art of what I want, 80-90% it will make what I want my boys to be making. So it's really simplified. Like.
And you have options also, no? Let's say if one of the options is not along with your thoughts, then you can always regenerate it.
Absolutely.
And I think we keep on discussing this and it's little threatening or scary for designers, but I think this is gonna be the new way of designing. Like I can clearly see like CEOs like yourself, putting their thoughts onto these platforms and getting like really good level of visualizations, which can become even let's say, even though it's not the final kind of a thing, but it becomes a very good directional visual for the design team, right?
Spot on. I think it is for that directional visual for people to actually work. So when you say that designers should be worried, I don't really think so. Not yet. Because the usability of the final output is still not to the point that ki maine banaya. Maine banaya in the sense ki it's exactly what I want. It will still be close to what you want.
Correct.
So right from the artwork that we've tried to do to reference images for inspiration for design, it will give you direction. Uske baad, it's up to you and your team to make what you want out of it.
Yeah. I think like just to add on to your point over there is that it still can't understand the manufacturing or the practical aspects of it, right?
But I'm sure soon it will.
जैसे 6 महीने पहले हमें लगा कि ये तो ऐसी फैंसी फीचर है, but अभी वो करने लगा है, अभी वो अच्छे से रेंडर करने लगा है, and probably after 6-7 months it can also calculate the manufacturing aspect of it.
Seriously.
तब वो शायद आपको सीधा 3D मॉडल ही दे देगा. Actually I saw one AI tool like that, जहाँ पे if you have a 2D sketch, it will convert it into a 3D model, which is still not that refined, but it can become a good base for a designer or the 3D modeler to develop or work upon it.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to the phone scanning thing, right? Because it gives you a base reference. It might not be as accurate as a proper scanner, but it will still give you a rough volume where you can start playing around. So a lot of these things are still becoming, like Viscom has reached that upar wala level.
Correct.
A lot of these other apps and tools are going to get there, which will make stuff simpler.
Wow, man. Thinking of like talking about this with you, इतने सारे ideas आ रहे हैं ना मेरे दिमाग में.
Dude, मैं जब शुरू किया, I think 3 nights, all I was doing was so Triumph Speed 400 inspiration. It's insane.
It's best, no? Because till now you were limited with your own skills.
Yeah.
अभी कैसा हो गया कि अब अगर idea है तो skills is not gonna be the barrier for your design or your idea to come there.
Absolutely.
है ना, अभी कुछ prompts डाल दो, and I think prompts engineering is also becoming one of the big
Courses
things.
now,
Courses are there, and मैं बोल रहा था कि अगर इस चीज को मतलब let's say 1 or 2 years down the line when AI can calculate the manufacturing, the practical aspect of it and everything, and if you have a 3D printer in your home, you're sorted, no? Then Autologue can just provide a file directly to them, right? कि घर पे आप प्रिंट कर लो, खुद ही बना लो, खुद ही माउंट कर लो.
वो तो है ही फ्यूचर, dude, for sure.
फ्यूचर होने वाला है ना. बट एक्चुअली 3D प्रिंटिंग हैज मतलब जैसे अभी 3D प्रिंटिंग को भी आए हुए 15-20 साल हो गए, और आई रिमेम्बर 10 साल पहले भी जब 3D प्रिंटिंग की टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत ज़्यादा पीक पे जा रही थी, तो एवरीबडी वाज इमेजिनिंग दिस फ्यूचर कि हर घर में 3D प्रिंटर तो होने ही वाला है. So you will have all the 3D models, like including your daily objects like cups and all, mugs and all. तो ऐसा सब लोग बोलने लगे थे कि ये mugs भी there will be lot of options online. You just have to download and then print it at home.
For sure. It is good. I'm sad and surprised that it's still not here, because I would have expected by now.
Correct.
There would be a lot more 3D printers in homes. Internationally फिर भी ज़्यादा है, यहाँ पर कम है. But yeah, like a free library, like you have so many of these libraries now, GrabCAD, you can just go and find literally anything. Correct. So it will definitely happen. 3D printing technology for the consumer at a lower level, I think in terms of quality of the print lasting is still a unsure wala feeling, which I think is not the case anymore. If we have like CF material, there is Onyx. Onyx is a hybrid material of CF and plastic and Kevlar and lots of stuff. Yeah. Okay. So I have actually made levers, brake levers and stuff of Onyx, which I have done everything possible to try and break. Okay. And it hasn't broken, and it's relatively still affordable compared to like sintering technology for metal. What are you saying? Yeah. Seriously, utna strong hai? Yeah. Oh. You can make brake reservoir caps which are otherwise CNC machined and stuff. So if I have to do one-offs, you can do it now like that. Okay. Tell me something. ये सब जब हो रहा है तो कस्टमाइजेशन दुनिया के लिए, कस्टमाइजेशन वर्ल्ड के लिए, और ये जो बोल्ट ऑन पार्ट्स है, उस बिजनेस के लिए एआई कैसे इम्पैक्ट करेगा? डू यू हैव लाइक एनी फ्यूचर डायरेक्शन इन योर माइंड कि वैसा वैसा होने वाला है? Yeah, I mean, so many different things that I can think of, but off the top of my head, like for you as a bike owner, for you to visualize what your bike could look like. Yeah. Like you just, once it becomes possible for you to take references of real things without having direct copyright issues, or if a tool is made which has an association with those people who are making those products, where you can offer it to a customer where he can directly, Need for Speed style, customize his ride on the internet. That's just one. Or product idea where, you want something for your bike and it gives you an idea you could do this. Right. So many things. Actually, इन सबको combine करके अगर VR के साथ combine कर दिया, तो you can, at home only, you can visualize your bike in the real environment, कि कैसा दिखने वाला है, क्या क्या होने वाला है, which part will suit the most. Like you have like 10 different body kits for the same bike. Yeah. The user can easily choose between them. Interestingly, like VR, did we talk about Gravity Sketch? No, we haven't. So 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, we explored the VR wala aspect because there was this tool called Gravity Sketch that we heard about. And we got 2 of our design boys trained in Gravity Sketch. Oh, interesting. So we thought that this is definitely going to, help our current process from 2D to 3D, because your basic volumes could be explored there. Teams can work together. So if you have like 3 designers, you can work in the same space and experiment, saying कि इसको कम किया तो ऐसा होता है. I feel no, it should be like this. So many advantages, and Gravity Sketch has been leveling up, like Viscom. Correct. Gravity Sketch has also in the last 2 years really evolved. I think they've got multiple rounds of funding also since then, because it was really the first design tool of that level where you could create stuff which you can actually use. We did a lot of stuff there on Gravity Sketch, which we eventually printed, used for our kits. So the first kit, the Mojo Street Fighter that we did was developed on Gravity Sketch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that way we were marketing it also as the first kit developed in VR. And then we had a VR metaverse release of that kit.
Oh.
So we created a website.
Interesting.
And a gallery where we had all our kits laid out. And the Mojo ka 3-4 color mein options, and we had also placed the 3D models of the parts, so you could see the tank separately, you could see the seat couch separately.
Okay.
So obviously it's very primitive graphic still. So it's not as good as the best game that you see now. So that's the fill that has to happen, where the servers and the bandwidths are at that level where you can have high resolution 3D models in a space where people can use it, and better, like the Oculus is still, when we were using the Oculus was still heavy.
No, even now I think I have used the latest version, still heavy. And also what Apple has done it, I have seen like MKBHD videos and all.
Right.
They are also saying, because it's a metal body now, that Apple one.
Yeah.
So that's also gonna be little heavy. So I think definitely there are so many areas to evolve, but as we have seen what has happened with Viscom and all, I think very soon everything will be sorted.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So now that we have talked about AI, we have talked about design, let's talk about the business part of it. And this customization business, or the bolt-on parts business, it's still not so explored avenue, or what do you think? Like, is it like heavily explored avenue, but there are only few players who could survive, or there have been very less, penetration into this area by entrepreneurs? What is your feeling?
I think it's a mix. The accessory market is huge. If you look at it, from some stats that I have, that 30% of of the motorcycle market as a buyer does some customization or personalization to their vehicle. So that way it's a huge market. But what kind of accessories is usually your safety related, utility related, like guards and luggage related or touring, things like that. So in our original category, which is mostly aesthetics, it's smaller. It's definitely not 30%. It'll probably be 10% or maybe even lower. So that way, it might not seem like a huge market, but when you look at the numbers of average spend of a guy and what kind of, I'm not only obviously talking about commuter vehicles. You're looking at enthusiast market, which is like in our country, it's 200 to whatever. In other countries, it might be 400 and upwards, 600 and upwards. So it is still a relatively large market, but it's not easy because the stuff which is, your typical stuff like luggage or safety, there are many players in each category.
Correct.
Right from a Chinese option to the most premium option. So there are very few voids to fill. But because of the stuff that we do or we try to do for body related things, especially in our country, the options were none. So we created those options. So that category has more or less been established because of some of the kits that we've done. Whereas internationally, it's an established scene. So every bike that you buy from the company, you have 20 options of accessories, which are slowly trickling down even in the Indian scene. But you have lots of aftermarket options also. So I think it's about cleverly finding a niche or selecting to be massy and then driving your business that way. It's a choice that you have to make. In the Indian scene, the custom thing is not as evolved as it is in the Bahar wala countries like Europe or whatever, where people pay a lot of money for custom bikes. Even in our country, you'll have very few, like, you can count them on your hands, the number of people who spend that kind of money. So yeah, what was your question about the business thing? I went all around.
No. I think you covered few points like which I wanted to ask you, because my question was this custom world, even though there is, you see lot of scope, lot of demand and things, and everyone, at least people around me, everybody wants to, explore and express their kind of aspiration through their bikes.
Right.
And once you buy an OEM bike, तो उसमें क्या है कि अब वो कितने दिनों तक आपको वही सेम स्पेशल फील कराएगा, राइट? तो आफ्टर अ पॉइंट एवरीबडी फील्स दैट नीड. फॉर एग्जांपल, आई हैव सीन मेनी रॉयल एनफील्ड कस्टमर्स, तो वो अपने हेडलाइट को एलईडी कर लेंगे, उसमें कुछ एक डीआरएल वाला एलिमेंट डाल देते हैं. दे हैव फैंसी टैंक डीकैल्स. और फॉर एग्जांपल, मतलब मैं पहले जब दिल्ली में था तो आई हैव बीन टू करोल बाग, यहाँ पे भी अभी नाना पेट है. तो हर जगह पे ऐसा हो जाता है कि यू हैव this accessory market, it's huge basically. But वो बहुत ज्यादा ना ऐसे जुगाड़ू लगता है. Like 90% of those kits, no, it's like very जुगाड़ू stuff कि जो clearly पता चल जाएगा कि ये तो स्टॉक नहीं है, ये आफ्टर मार्केट कुछ तो जुगाड़ है. ये वाला जो पार्ट है वो लोग क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे? Is it because of some challenge, or is it because like people are not aware of this, how to do it? What is the reason?
Price, acceptance of what people are willing to spend on these kind of accessories is, I think, the biggest factor. Because if you have to do a lot of numbers, you need to be able to be affordable for a lot of people.
कितना spend करना चाहते हैं लोग, like according to your
ये आप जो नाना पेट and करोल बाग बोल रहे हो, these are people who, I mean, you will have some percentage of people who will spend higher. But I'm saying कि it is right from a Splendor guy to a Bullet guy to even 650 guy also will go. But the idea over there is कि मैं, without spending too much money, I'm able to make my bike look different. So in that fitting of people's needs and offering, it becomes a mix and match of all sorts of stuff. Chinese imports, Thai imports, all sort, which is not made for your bike. It's made for something else. Correct. But because like a lever, how different would it be? So you would have levers of Chinese bikes which don't come here, but उनका थोड़ा सा वो grind on करके it'll fit on a Pulsar. I'm giving you an example.
Right.
So that kind of stuff fits, the massy thing. So which is why they've not been able to. You will have, like, if you look at car accessory market, it's much more evolved because the number of people buying, let's say, a bumper protector for an SUV is substantial.
Correct.
So it validates and is viable for a manufacturer to invest in the mold to make an injection molded clad, which they'll sell 10,000, 30,000, 50,000 units versus this, where, I mean, in my kind of work, where kits would be 100s, 200s, 500s, max 1,000, like, that kind of, which is also mostly doesn't happen, but that would be a good case, 1,000 sort of kits for it. So I think that's where the difference is, manufacturability.
Correct. तो प्राइस और वॉल्यूम, ये दो एरियाज है जहाँ पे बात आके अट जाती है. या एक्चुअली, और जो कार लेने वाला है, शायद उनकी स्पेंडिंग कैपेसिटी भी ज्यादा है, शायद उसकी वजह से भी they are more experimental. And I think with bikes especially, मैंने ये देखा है कि लास्ट एपिसोड में भी शायद हम लोग बात कर रहे थे कि अभी तो जाके हम लोगों ने सर्वाइवल के ऊपर सोचना शुरू कर दिया है. तो अभी आई थिंक स्लोली दिस मार्केट इज गोना बिकम इवन बिगर, आई गेस, क्योंकि अभी लोगों के पास पैसा भी आ रहा है, लोगों को एक्सप्लोर भी करना है. एंड ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट आई हैव सीन दिस हैपनिंग कि लोगों को ना, पहले ऐसा था मेंटालिटी कि लोगों को ऐसा कुछ चाहिए जो सबके पास है. सो you'll be a part of that big community जहाँ पे लोग आपको क्वेश्चन नहीं करेंगे. बट अभी ऐसा हो गया ना, स्पेशली दिस Gen Z crowd, no,
want to be different.
हाँ, everyone wants to be very different and like not like little bit different, like proper standout.
Yeah, I think it's the same case with most, like, you want an Apple iPhone because you have an iPhone, but then you want the case that makes it look special. So
exactly
the same thing with motorcycles.
That's a good analogy actually. वो actually, क्योंकि स्मार्टफोन में अगर इतना एक्सपेरिमेंट कर सकते हैं, और स्मार्टफोन भी अभी सस्ते नहीं रहे, तो अगर उस पे एक्चुअली स्मार्टफोन के भी कवर्स 2,000 के आ जाते हैं अभी, 2,000, 3,000. Awesome, man. So tell me now that you are an independent sort of a company and you have like you have seen what happens in corporate, let's say, like when you are working with DC,
Yeah.
it was a, yeah, that was
Kind
also
of corporate. But
kind of
yeah,
corporate,
yeah.
but so that's a OEM sort of environment, and I have worked in OEM,
Yep.
so I know that at every stage you will need lot of approvals, you know. So tell me something, like from that OEM culture to your independent sort of a R&D culture, do you have certain advantages which helps you a lot in expressing yourself or your designs?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no doubt about it. कि बहुत, it's the right way though when in a corporate scene. Like I understand now because I'm trying to make my company more of a business and do it the right way in a more structured format. So I understand why it needs to be there. But obviously, like you said, it curtails a lot of the creative bits like that. Right from delays in execution to, I don't know, the feeling that you have and what you want it to be versus, 8 other people saying, no, it should not be, it should be this, sales are more important or whatever. So we definitely enjoy that because it's a small team. We don't have too many people saying yes, no. So it's basically the design team and me. So we
Yeah.
just decide कि it works.
जो
or
भी
doesn't
विजन
work.
है उसको
Yeah.
बीच में ज्यादा बैरियर्स नहीं है. तो एक्चुअली मतलब जैसे बहुत सारी कंपनीज अपने कॉन्सेप्ट व्हीकल्स शोकेस करती है ना ऑटो एक्सपो में, वहां से उसी गाड़ी का जब प्रोडक्शन वर्जन आ जाता है तो ऐसे लगता है कि कोई दूसरी गाड़ी है.
Right.
तो आई थिंक यू गाइज हैव दैट एडवांटेज कि यू कैन स्टे वेरी क्लोज टू द कॉन्सेप्ट.
Yeah.
So okay, so now that you have worked on so many bikes like Mahindra, KTM's, Pulsars, and things like that, what is your dream project which you want to do in future as a Autologue Design custom made bike or body kit?
You mean as a one-off or a kit?
Your dream project. Let's keep it very simple. Which is your dream project?
My dream project. So let's start with the more accessible one, which is
Okay.
which is making a RD350 styling on a R3.
Oh,
so
wow.
using an
Okay.
R3 modern base
Acha.
and recreating what the RD350 would have been if it came now.
Wow.
Which we all wish that Yamaha would listen and do that. So that's definitely one.
Okay.
And then bigger, less achievable would be if I could develop a universal sort of Street Fighter kit or any sort of universal kit which fits most bikes, like a Street Fighter or a Explorer or any of these. That's my Autologue aspiration.
Yeah.
Personal level, it's to make that RD R3.
Wow. I think that also seems accessible. Definitely challenges बहुत ज़्यादा है.
Dreams थोड़ा सा realistic ताकि we are able to do them also. ज़्यादा ऊपर बोलना कि Ferrari को ये करना है या MV Augusta को बनाना है तो
Actually manifest कर सकते हैं ना.
Yeah, I try and do that. Yes, for sure.
अभी से बोल दो manifest हो जाएगा.
MotoGP was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually no. Let's talk more about that. Like MotoGP, it's a huge deal. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a huge deal, that becoming the first Indian company to become like the sponsor for the Moto 2 team.
Yep.
And MotoGP is like such a crazy phenomenon, you can say. And like, I know like a lot of non-biker people wouldn't understand this excitement. Like one of those people is here. My wife is here. She's not into bikes. But yeah, people who have been into all this. So for them, MotoGP is like the huge deal. It has become it has always been that highest aspiration level possible for all the riders.
Yeah.
And to represent one of the teams which is participating over there and become one of the sponsors, and I have seen that bike, it looks hot. Okay. And the way Autologue logo has been placed, it's very prominent. It's very, nobody can miss it. So first of all, a big congratulations. And tell me everything about it. Like, how did it happen? And has it always been, as you said, has it always been your dream?
Yeah, so I've obviously it's been my dream. I mean, 10 years ago, if you had asked me, I would have never thought कि ऐसा कुछ हो भी सकता है. 2019 में we went and saw the GP in Thailand. and that's where I did some spade work to understand what are the feasibilities of becoming a sponsor. How can you associate? Because I loved the vibe so much that I wanted कि Autologue की कुछ representation यहाँ हो. So I got in touch with an agency that manages stuff like this. So it's Spanish agency. So they look at various levels. So we have Moto 3, Moto 2, Moto GP. You can have a rider sponsorship. You can have a team sponsorship. So I explored those options then, but it was way over my marketing budget. So I knew that at some point I want to do this. And then 3 years, 4 years later, they say Bharat GP is happening. So I thought this is the time for me to explore it again. And just things fell in place. I got in touch with the team, gave them some ideas about how we could work together. And I was really, really wanting it to happen. So I think both the team and us have gone out of our way to make sure it does happen. And from being a viewer, like my wife said, to spectator to sponsor, it's been an amazing journey. It makes me feel great that from there to here, and hopefully more serious involvement where we could possibly doing bodies for them for the Spanish league and stuff like that. So it's amazing. It's a good gratification in terms of where we've reached, and opens huge opportunities. Me and my friends, and I think most enthusiasts, are fans of the GP. Right, from minimum Rossi and Marquez के fan तो हैं ही.
Exactly. कुछ ना हो तो उन दोनों के लिए तो लोग देख ही लेते हैं.
So starting from there to having the logo on the bike and seeing the bike for the first time, it is amazing. And I'm hoping that we can. It's like a trigger for Autologue to move more into not just aesthetics, but stuff that also is more functional. So right from more scientific aero understanding, because if you're providing to the highest level of racing, obviously that speaks volumes of the kind of stuff that you're doing. So our associations with Taneja Aerospace in Bangalore, where we can build carbon fiber fairings there, they have an autoclave. So we're leveling up all of those things. So hopefully this is a trigger for other things in the future.
Yeah, you can become something like Repsol, which is for Honda.
Who knows?
Yeah. So maybe somewhere in the future, let's manifest. No?
Yes.
उसमें जाता ही क्या है?
Definitely, यार. ऐसे तो
2019 में you manifested it at Thai GP.
Yeah.
And you were just saying, no, कि you were talking about this with Sonal, your wife.
Yeah.
And that time, probably you didn't think that it will happen so soon.
Absolutely.
But it's happening. And
so
it's
let's manifest an Indian racing team at the GP or 2 or 3.
Wow, that would be awesome, man. Yeah.
Indian riders.
Yeah. Recently, I saw one post on Autologue's Instagram page where you are providing passes to the paddock access directly. What is it about? Tell us more about it.
So that merchandise lineup that I was telling you about, so 100 kmph and Autologue are working on that together. So it will happen soon. The contest will be released soon, where the winner gets a paddock access pass for 3 days, which is like behind the scenes access which you cannot get. You cannot buy a ticket of paddock. So this comes to sponsors and teams. So you get to hang out with the team, the riders, meet them, see how teams function. So if you're an enthusiast who really follows GP and stuff, it would be a once in a lifetime sort of opportunity.
For sure.
So we've got a few passes. So we're definitely going to be trying to give it to the AL crew. Get more of the crew there. So.
Yeah. So participate in that.
Yes. And become Instagram and
become the AL crew.
Yes.
Yeah, man. That's super, because you have always seen what happens in the screen and let's say on the track. But I'm pretty sure, like, whenever I have seen all the paddock scenes, like what happens, the stressful, intense, moments when they are racing and when they are, fighting for individual spot for milliseconds and all. So different vibe. And yeah, that could be the next level experience. If somebody is like very enthused about all these racing scenario, this is gonna be the next level experience.
Yeah, you can just go onto YouTube and see paddock experiences of different teams. There are a lot of people who've put up YouTube episodes of it. It's really amazing. You see, I mean, jab Rossi tha, abhi bhi Rossi might be there. No,
Yeah, who
but
knows?
for his Mooney team, but yeah.
Now that we have talked about almost everything,
Yeah.
let's come to the final part. Like, there are so many young aspiring custom builders like you, like yourself.
Yeah,
Before
like
10
me
years.
10 years ago.
10 years ago,
Or
right?
15.
So if
Yeah.
there is someone who is watching and listening to this,
Oops. That's not in the frame. No, so
yeah, it's okay.
Wapas haan.
Yeah. So now there are so many aspiring young entrepreneurs like you yourself before 10 years.
Yes,
yeah?
correct.
So उनके लिए कुछ अगर advice देना हो, like let's say if they want to start today with their whatever the situation or the skill set they have, what will be your advice? Like how should they start?
I think सबसे important जो मैंने किया was follow my passion, because that's the strongest thing that you've got. So my desire was to make my motorcycle look better. So that's where my core lies. Second was me understanding the market. So just because you like something doesn't mean it's going to work. So you have to understand the market that you're looking at and find a missing space. If it's already cluttered, there's no point in you being one of 10
Correct.
or one of 50 or one of 100. That's what we tried doing. Autologue, I'm proud to be a brand that has done a lot of firsts in my space. So right from the kind of products that we brought to the way that we market ourselves and a lot of things which I feel we've been the first at. So I would advise strongly, because that becomes a big advantage where people are then trying to catch up. So if you're looking at it as a business, you need to find your niche which is unique to you rather than just trying to imitate. Or it's great to be inspired. Always find inspiration, whether it is competition or things that you look up to. That's very important, but try and create unique products or experiences for people. Yeah, I think the most important thing is not to just try and fit in, come up with something different, think it through as a business while being true to your original passion. So like if you're somebody who likes, I'm just giving my example only. I love cleaning bikes or cars. So my other true calling is to have a detailing brand. So whether it is a polish brand where I come up with my own products or something like that, and I know that there is a missing space there. So something like that.
Yeah. And I think this space itself, like let me tell the audience also, like since the time I have known Mukul, the kind of passion you possess towards bikes and automobile in general, it's like I can't explain how inspired I am with your passion.
Thank you so much, man. That's so nice of you to say.
And I think in long run, this matters a lot, because there are gonna be many down moments, not like last episode also. You were talking about so many ups and downs. And if you are not passionate enough, it will be very difficult for you to sustain through that phase. I can't agree with your advice, even though I'm not a customization expert, but like in all philosophically, I think that makes a lot of sense. So Mukul, final question. Okay. Now I have been to this Autologue facility, I think three times now. This is my third or fourth time. Fourth time. And every time I come here, I have my own reasons to enjoy this experience. Okay. But tell people who are in Pune or around Pune why they should visit your facility.
In the monsoons, how green it is. But
let me tell the audience, like mountains are like right behind this facility. Like I can see the mountain right from here.
Yeah, so बहुत बार ऐसे काम बहुत कम होता है because लोनावला की feeling आ रही होती है. But apart from the great, nice natural vibe over here, if you're an enthusiast, we have lots of interesting projects on. We have cool cars and bikes hanging around here all the time. So we have lots of youngsters who come to just see what we've got. So apart from meeting the team, seeing some nice projects, it's a good place to chill. Yeah, it's a very good place to chill, especially that slide school area, no? Yeah. Right. So you have put like
hammocks and things like that.
Yeah.
And Sonal was telling me last time that the sunset from there,
Yeah,
it's pretty
it's
amazing.
epic. Abhi monsoon mein thoda sa it's all dhundla, but
हाँ.
otherwise it's amazing.
Yeah, so दिन भर ride करके फिर शाम को chill कर
Yes.
सकते हो. Yeah, so Slide School is there. You also host a lot of events like Hilux. Last time मैं जब आया था तो वो चल रहा था. You also have a pro off-road obstacle course.
Yeah.
So there are so many things. So people who are like genuinely enthused about the riding scene or driving scene, they should visit.
Yeah, I didn't even say that. I figured I was just talking about how nice and pretty it is. So yeah, like you said, we have 4 tracks now. So apart from the multiple projects which are interesting at the workshop, people can come try the obstacle course, learn Slide School pe flat track. If you are a 4x4 person, you can come on to Endurologue, where we have. Abhi we are planning a monsoon event also.
Oh wow!
Because abhi pani bhara hua hai, to baki sab cheezein like you said are thanda. So we're going to do a monsoon event where you get dirty and slushy.
Nice. Actually, वो भी एक अलग fun है ना.
बिल्कुल.
So yeah, man. So Mukul, this has been again another fun podcast.
Anytime, man. I love it.
And I love hanging out here. I love meeting these dogs. ज़्यादा time spend नहीं किया, but yeah, I love coming here. Keep calling me.
Yes, definitely.
And thanks for doing this, man. Especially after that glitch which has happened last time.
No stress, यार. Sunday को मैं इधर ही chill कर रहा होता हूँ, so आज तेरे साथ chill कर रहा हूँ.
Awesome, man. Thank you, and
My pleasure.
best of luck for your, all the future endeavors, including the MotoGP, which
Thank
is
you
like
so
a
much.
big thing. I'm gonna be there. You know.
Yes, I will see you there.
Yeah. So let's meet. Let's
Yes.
chat.
Definitely.
Okay.